Hello all. In this video, we are going to discuss about different ways of accessing AWS. And at the end of this video, we are going to discuss about SDK. What is SDK and how we use it. So let's start with the use cases. I mean, and so there are different ways. Like the first one. So the first one is there are total three options to access, and the first one is through Management Console through GUI. Right on the browser, we give a you know AWS web page, and that's how we access. That is the first one, and it's protected using a password plus MFA. So MFA is like another authentication method. If you are not familiar with it, I would recommend viewing the previous video. So that is the first option. The second option is through CLI, command line interface. And the CLI is protected using access keys. And the third is using SDK. And this is also protected using the access key. So these are the three different ways to access AWS. And if we talk about access key, right? They are generated using Management Console through GUI, and these access keys are similar to password, which should not be shared with any other user. Now let's dive deeper into this each option. So first one is GUI. I mean the browse GUI option is we are already aware. In this, we'll talk about the CLI. So for those who are not aware, the CLI is command line interface. So like we give a bunch of commands to make required changes in AWS cloud. Now let me the first is it's a tool which can be used to interact with the AWS services using the command line. So let's say in other word, if you say, so we use the CLI to make any configuration changes. So instead of GUI, we use CLI. The second thing is through CLI, we can directly access public APIs and of AWS services. So in APIs, if you're not aware for now, that's fine. We'll just get into detail in upcoming videos. Also, you can develop a script to automate some of your tasks through CLI. These are some of the use cases. And this CLI is an open source and can be found on GitHub. This is the URL. You can visit this URL and get some more details. And it's just an alternate options of managing AWS instead of GUI. So let's say through CLI, right, accessing a CLI will require the access key ID and secret key. So this ID and secret key must not be shared with anyone. So this is about CLI. Now let's talk about SDK. So what is SDK? So SDK stands for Software Development Kit. AWS SDK is a common way of interacting with APIs, which is like application programming interface and services. Now there are language specific SDKs like JavaScript, Python, PHP, Ruby, and other mentioned here. And developers uses this SDKs for a task like EC2 instance management or uploading files in SDK. I'll mention in a minute. So there are mobile SDKs which is for like Android and iOS. And apart from mobile SDK, there are IoT SDKs as well. So like let's say if you are using thermal sensor, So there are SDK for that as well. And this SDK provides a way for API to interact directly with AWS services, right? So let's say, as an example, if you want to upload a file, let's say you have around 200 server and you want to upload specific file on all of them. So using this SDK and API, like specific API with a SDK, you can upload it on all the servers at the same time. Or let's say if you want to fetch specific detail or a specific resource from all the server. In that case, also you can use this SDK. So as I mentioned, it's a tool which can make your task easier and help with the automate using the APIs. So like let's say there are repeated tasks, right, which can be automated using this SDK. So friends, this is what I wanted to explain in this video. If you have any question, feel free to comment and I'll be happy to answer. And if you need this PPT, that also you can comment it and I'll share with individuals. Yeah. Thank you.